ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये. Om. Dear friends, welcome to the study of Geeta. We were just studying this shloka, Chaturvarnyam maya srushtam gunakarma vibhagashaha. Then we just started what is called Purusha Sukta. And I was explaining to you what is this Purusha Sukta. Actually means Purusha means a person. Purusha does not refer to man only. In colloquial, when we talk in the normal sense of the word, Purusha means a man. Purusha and Stri. Purusha is a man and Stri is a woman. That is what we think. But if we go to the etymological meaning, Purusha is not a man only. Purusha refers to that supreme reality. Puri Shete iti Purushaha. That is that which indwells all things. That is that supreme reality or that supreme Chaitanya which is there illumining the minds of all of us. That is what is called Purusha. Purusha means Puri Shete. Puri means what? What is the meaning of Puram? Puram means a city. This body is said to be Puram. Navadvare Pure Dehi. This is supposed to be the Puram with 9 gates. This is supposed to be a city with 9 gates because there are 9 holes in this body. So, this is a 9-gated city. So, this Puri Tishtati iti Purushaha, Puri Shete iti Purushaha. That is that which is there illumining all the activities of any living being, not only of a human being. When we say Purusha, you are not only referring to a human being, you are also referring to an ant, a mosquito, everything. Whenever in Vedanta, whenever we say Jiva, we are not referring to a human being only. We are referring to a mosquito, we are referring to an ant, an amoeba, something which is some sort of microorganism which is in the body. So, like that. So, Purusha is when now this cosmic intelligence, the whole cosmic intelligence, if we try to visualize in a human form, then if you visualize, and kindly those who know Sanskrit, kindly listen very, very carefully. Brahmanosya mukhamasit. There is a particular mantra in that. That Purusha Sukta contains about 16 mantras. One particular mantra has become controversial because it is translated very loosely. It is translated loosely saying that, okay, from that Virat Purusha, there was one gentleman called Virat Purusha and he had 1000 heads. And in fact, that Purusha Sukta starts as Sahasra Shirusha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. That means literally it means that man is having 1000 heads, Sahasrakshaha, 1000 eyes, and 1000 feet. 1000 does not mean 1000. 1000 means infinite. So that is the meaning there. 1000 does not mean only 1000. As a small boy, I was having that Purusha Sukta in our house. So whenever I read it, I was just wondering, what is this monster-like thing? So that is what anybody who does not know tradition will feel. So if you see the commentaries on all that, how ancient commentators have commented upon, the Vedic rishis were not such fools that they visualized somebody with 1000 heads. 1000 means infinite. That is, all the heads or all the antahkarana, all the antahkarana means the mind. All the minds of all the beings, of all the living beings, they are all illumined by that Purusha. So that means that Puri Shete iti Purusha. That one particular cosmic intelligence is illumining the minds of all the beings, all living beings. So that is what is Purusha. So that is the meaning of Sahasra Shirusha Purusha, infinite heads, infinite hands, infinite sense organs. So that is what is Purusha. So all our heads, all our sense organs, they all belong to that cosmic intelligence. So that is what is the meaning of that. Then if we want to say what is the head, what is the shoulder, etc., Brahmanosya mukhamasit. Brahmanaha asya mukham asit. So if those Sanskrit people kindly listen. Brahmanaha, a Brahmana, asya of that Purusha, mukham asit. He became. Brahmanaha asya mukham asit means if you visualize the entire world or a universe as a human being, who is the spokesperson for any society? Leave alone India. For any society, who is a spokesperson? A spokesperson is somebody who is a wise man. If you go to Greece, you select some Plato or Socrates. If you go to some other place, you select some King Solomon or some such man. If you go to some other place, there may be some other wise man. Somebody like Buddha, somebody like Shankara. So these are the people. So whoever is the wise man, he will be the spokesperson for the entire society. So for this entire universe, Brahmana does not mean this category. Again and again we have to see that with all this explanation I gave, we should not think that Brahmana is referring to a caste. Brahmana is referring to a particular intellectual category. So this intellectual minority is what guides the other majority. If you read a study of history by Toynbee, kindly read that study of history by Arnold Toynbee. There he very clearly writes, any society is guided by an intellectual minority. Take any society, take American society even today. Not only American society, take all societies of all times, not only of the present time, all societies of all times, they were guided by the intellectuals only. And of course, the Kshatriya, of course, whoever is the mighty person, whoever is the strong man, he takes help of these wise people. Sometimes he may take or he may not take also, but he is the man who is ruling. But if he takes the help of these wise people, he will rule better. So that is what is the arrangement. So this intellectual minority, that is like the head. Then what about the shoulder? Shoulder is something which protects, which gives the strength. Bahu rajanyah krutaha. Bahu is dvivachana, as we call it, dual number. Bahu bahavaha. That is, bahu is dvivachana, as we say, dual number. In Sanskrit, there is what is called a dual number. Bahu means two hands. Bahu, if you want to visualize the bahu, if you want to visualize the two shoulders of that Virat Purusha, that particular Purusha is called Virat Purusha, that cosmic being. Then who became that shoulders? Bahu rajanyah krutaha. Rajanyah bahu krutaha. So this king or whoever is the strong man, he became the shoulders of that Purusha. Then uru tadasya yad vaishyah. Uru tadasya. Of that cosmic being, the main support for the body comes from the thighs. And this thighs, who became the thighs? This Vaishya category. Vaishya, as I said, Vaishya does not mean only this trading community. We are not supposed to confine that word to the trading community. All the income, wealth generating communities, Krushi, Gaurakshya, Vanijyam, Vaishya Karma, Swabhavajam, I explained yesterday. Krushi means agriculture, Gaurakshya, that is cattle rearing, and Vanijyam is all trade and commerce. So all these three categories, that means a large section of society. This Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, if you see, the large section, more than 80% of the society is covered under this category. So this Uru Tadasya Vaishya, this Vaishya became the thighs. Then Padbhyam Shudro Ajayata. This Padbhyam Shudro Ajayata, this Padbhyam, the word Padbhyam is used in three different tenses. Those who know Sanskrit, kindly listen. Ramaha Ramabhyam Ramebhyah. Ramaya Ramabhyam Ramebhyah, Ramat Ramabhyam Ramebhyah. Ramabhyam comes in three tenses, that is Tritiya Vibhakti, Chaturthi Vibhakti, Panchami Vibhakti. So if you take the meaning as Panchami Vibhakti, it comes, Panchami Vibhakti means the fifth tense. That is called Apadana, that is, what is this called? Ablative case or something, I forgot that English word. That Panchami Vibhakti, it means that, okay, from the thighs or from that thighs, Shudra came. But that need not be taken, because it has to be, the whole meaning has to be in conformity with what the earlier three lines say. The earlier three lines do not say that Brahmana came out of the mouth. Brahmana became the mouth, became the mouth, and Kshatriya became the shoulders, Vaishya became the thighs. Then you have to take the fourth, that is Chaturthi Vibhakti. Chaturthi Vibhakti means for the sake of feet, this Shudra became he became the legs and feet. So that is what it means. So even then, okay, some people may feel bad. Even then people may feel, okay, Shudra became the legs and feet. Anyway, that is the structure. It does not say, first of all, the very first thing we have to realize is, that particular mantra is very, very loosely translated by people who do not know Sanskrit. That is the basic problem. Nowadays we have come away from Sanskrit, and we do not see we do not know the language structure. Brahmanaha asya mukham asit. Bahu, that is dvivachana, Rajanyaha Bahu Krutaha. Then Uru Tadasya Yad Vaishyaha, the Vaishyaha Uru Krutaha. So the last line has to be in conformity with the first three lines. Last line cannot get a different meaning. So we should not take Panchami Vibhakti, we have to take Chaturthi Vibhakti, which means that the Shudra became the legs and feet. So for the entire human, in any society, of course that also I am going to say, how about other societies? We are doing so much of dirty linen, washing our own dirty linen, as we say. We are talking about so much of our own dirty linen. What about other people's dirty linen? We will see in the next, maybe tomorrow. But right now, let us see our own dirty linen. So, what this particular Purusha Sukta says, it does not say that Brahmana came out of the mouth and Shudra came out of the shoulder. No, Kshatriya came out of the shoulder, Vaishya came out of the thigh, and Shudra came out of the feet. It does not say. Kindly read Sanskrit grammar, and go to any Sanskrit scholar. With this, you kindly record what I said, and you kindly go to anybody and question. And in fact, we have to congratulate some people, of course, in the sense, for example, Arya Samaj Dayananda Saraswati. Dayananda Saraswati is the man who has properly interpreted. Dayananda Saraswati, we know that he has written a commentary on the Vedas. He has very rightly interpreted this, and he has said there is no such insulting statement in that Purusha Sukta, and he has very clearly said. And he said, okay, everybody is entitled to read the Vedas. So that is the reason why everybody in his system read the Vedas, including women. So anyway, that will come later. But here, so this Purusha Sukta is talking about this sort of thing. Purusha Sukta has to be rightly understood, because Purusha Sukta is very loosely translated by people who do not know Sanskrit, or who have read what the English people have written, because the British people, their basic idea was to destroy our society. Their basic idea was to divide our society. Their basic idea was not to unite India. Politically, of course, whether they wanted or not, they united because it was their kingdom. Otherwise, their idea was not to unite the society. It was a political unity, but not a social unity, not a cultural unity. So anyway, then what about in Mahabharata? Mahabharata, in several other places it says. Then if we see what was the Vyavastha, what are the other examples? For example, Vyasa himself was not a Brahmana. Vyasa's mother was a fisherwoman. Then similarly, in Bhagavatam, the fifth skandha talks about there is one king called Rishabha Deva. Fifth skandha, fourth chapter, it talks about one Rishabha Deva. That Rishabha Deva had several sons. Some people became Brahmanas, some people became Kshatriyas. It means from the same father, there are some people who are Kshatriyas, who are some people which are Brahmanas. And in our Puranas, there are stories where one Rishi's sons, 4 sons, one person becomes a Brahmana, one becomes a Kshatriya, one becomes a Vaishya, and another becomes a Shudra. Then again, Ramayanam. What about Ramayanam? Ramayanam, there are so many episodes. We can say Ramayana, Valmiki himself is not a Brahmana. Valmiki himself is what? He was a hunter to start with. Then he did that Rama Japam, and then one day Narada came, and then he blessed him, and then later he became a Rishi, and then he wrote this Valmiki Ramayanam, and we call him Maharshi. So Valmiki himself is that. There, what about Vishwamitra? Vishwamitra was a Rishi, was a king, and he became a Brahmana. And now many Brahmanas, they have that Gotra, Kaushikasa Gotra as we say. Vishwamitra, Kaushika, he is otherwise called Kaushika, because his forefather, one of the forefathers was some such name. So his Gotra is called Kaushika. So he was a Kshatriya to start with, then he became a Brahmana, and he is the forefather for so many Brahmanas today. So that means a person was not confined to a particular category. This Varna in the initial stages was not a watertight compartment. This is one thing which we have to know in the initial stages. But later, maybe in the Middle Ages, maybe for so many sociological reasons and all that, maybe because nobody bothered about, say, all these things in the flow of time. In the flow of time, everything degenerated. So, okay, Brahmana's son was taken as a Brahmana and somebody Kshatriya. Then meanwhile, all these Vaishyas, they got so mingled up. So that is what has happened. Then when Valmiki Ramayanam, if you know another episode, for example, there is another episode where Dasharatha shoots one person. Dasharatha has got one nice Vidya. Vidya means he was a great archer. And he was able to shoot at some object without looking at it. Without looking at it, he used to shoot. So at one point of time, it so happened that he heard this one particular sound, and he thought it was the sound of an elephant, and he shot an arrow. And then it so happened that at that particular time, one boy, he was actually dipping his vessel. It was dipping his vessel to fill water from the water lake. So it produced a sound as though the elephant was taking water with its trunk. So then when Dasharatha shot an arrow, it went and hit that particular boy. And Dasharatha thinks that he has killed a Brahmin boy. And that boy, again, of course, I will not go into the entire story. You kindly read that episode in Srimad Ramayanam. If you see that entire thing, there the parents of the boy, they cry. Every day this boy, very early in the morning, he used to perform Sandhya and he used to recite Veda. Thereafter, he used to recite all the scriptures to us. From now on, who will do it? So that old blind father, mother also, they do cry. And that boy, even I, before reading Ramayana, I was thinking that he was a Shravana Kumara, he was a Brahmana, etc., etc. He was not a Brahmana, he was a Shudra boy. He was a Shudra boy, Shudra mother and a Vaishya father. So that was it. So which means in the ancient society, this sort of division was not very watertight. In the ancient society was more liberal. We have to, what I mean to say is, ancient society was more liberal, there were no watertight compartments. Somewhere in the Middle Ages or so, probably these things they got ossified, or rather they became strict. Like nowadays also, the politicians, they want to make their sons again into the same MLAs, MPs, like that. So something like that it became. Then we will come to the next point. What are the examples set by other great teachers? If we want to see that, what did people like Shankaracharya, what did people like Ramanujacharya do? In fact, of course, we know Buddha. Buddha is another great example where he totally said all these things. He exactly said what is there in the Upanishads. What is but maybe by the time of Buddha itself, probably this Varna Vyavastha had become a watertight compartment. It looks like that. Otherwise, he would not have reacted against it. Before Buddha and at the time of this Mahabharata, etc., at that time probably they were not watertight compartments. But by the time of Buddha, probably they became watertight compartments, and Buddha reacted against it. He said, no, he created a society where he created a first classless society. The first classless society in India was created by Buddha. And thereafter Shankara and others, what did they also do? Shankaracharya, we know the famous story where he met a person, Chandala as we say, and he said, there is a wonderful interaction. I will not go into all those details. There is an interaction with that Chandala. He asks his students, they ask, okay, move away. Shankaracharya, great Shankaracharya is coming. So then that man stands and then he asks, are you asking the body to move away, or are you asking the Atma to move away? Then Shankaracharya becomes surprised. He gets a shock. And then he discusses with him. And then he realizes that Chandala was a very enlightened person. Then he says, Chandalostu satu dvijostu gururityesha manisha mama. An enlightened person, whether he is a Chandala or whatever may be his birth, he is my guru, he says. So Shankaracharya at that time he said, whoever it is, from whatever origin, whatever may be the origin, an enlightened person, a wise person, he is my guru. And of course, that is the similar examples we see from Ramanuja, etc. Ramanujacharya is another great character. At that time, the Tirumantra, the Vaishnavas, they call it Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, that is Ashrakshari mantra, is a Tirumantra. That was supposed to be only the preserve of some people, and it was not supposed to be told, etc. So then what did he do? We will see tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.